Welcome back to Fast Market on the TD Ameritrade Network. I'm Tom White, joined by my co-host Kevin Hinks. But let's bring in our next guest for our cash tag segment, and that's going to be Landon Swann, the co-founder of LikeFolio.com. Thanks for being here again, Landon.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks.
All right, we're talking eBay. You know, what kind of data do you have on this company? Do people still use eBay? Landon, what's going on here? Because I don't think I've bought anything on eBay in about 15 years. What kind of data are you seeing on this ahead of earnings?
Yeah, this is a company that I thought was, on its way out 5 or 10 years ago, but they've made a comeback, right? They've completely changed and started to bring back new customers over the last few years. Now, recently, it's all about, what have you done for me lately? And I can tell you on their last earnings report, while revenue was up, their amount of active buyers was down 5% year over year, while the active sellers population was flat. Obviously, you don't want to see either one of those decrease, but buyers are the ones you definitely don't want to see decrease. So that's a little bit of a concern. I think it's actually the third quarter in a row where they've lost active buyers. Now, they've got a couple of things that we look at as far as trends working for them. So if you look at e-commerce overall, we're actually seeing e-commerce as a trend shift down a little bit. So you got about a negative 14% year over year mentions of people talking about shopping online. It's a very generic term. We've got hundreds of phrases that we're looking for, but just in general, you can see the huge spike from COVID. It was a slight uptrend going into that, maybe starting to get flat, but lately it's up a little bit on the quarter-over-quarter basis, but there's a lot of holidays in there, obviously. And I think on a year-over-year basis, that's the important thing. It's down significantly. And so there's a little bit of concern there. And also, one thing that's kind of interesting is if you look at people talking about shopping in a store, actually physically shopping in a store, that's up year over year. So there's a movement away from shopping online to going into stores. Obviously, that has a lot to do with stores reopening and people getting out there, and they have that sort of pull forward demand online versus being able to get back out in the real world. So eBay doesn't have any physical stores. You can, that's shopping online. That's the big key there. So when you look at eBay overall, one of the concerns that we have is the happiness levels. It's actually pretty low. You compare it to others like Shopify or Etsy, Amazon. They're doing much better. Even Target is doing better. The only one eBay is really beating on the happiness level is Walmart. So happiness here is the vertical axis. So eBay's fifth on this chart. If you include Shopify, they would be sixth as well. So their happiness is right around 66%, which is pretty low for an online retailer. Now you do see that purchase intent movement to the right. That's good. They're doing well on I believe this is a quarter-over-quarter basis. On a year-over-year basis, not nearly as well. They're actually down significantly year-over-year. So, of course, with the holidays coming in, they're going to be boosted quarter-over-quarter. Kind of leading the way with Amazon, doing well there. So people were shopping online for gifts and things like that over the last 90 days. But on a year-over-year basis, it's disappointing, and we're starting to get a little bit of a concern there. And I think the fact that you've got e-commerce as a trend falling off a little bit, and you've got eBay falling off a little bit on purchase intent on a year-over-year basis, plus you've got that happiness really low. We think that happiness is a longer-term indicator. So for eBay to be at 66% happiness, we're concerned. But when you look at just the overall data for just this quarter, we're reporting, tomorrow, I believe, tomorrow morning. It might be tomorrow afternoon. But anyway, it's tomorrow. And if you're looking at that report, we got them at a plus 19 on that 100 scale. So that's right where you might be bullish, you might not. For me, I think the longer-term trend is going to push me back into the neutral camp. I'm going to shy away from trading this, going to be on the sidelines for eBay. If I had to take a bet on this report only, it might be bullish, but long-term, I'm staying away from this company right now.
I'm going to make a statement. I'm not sure that Tom White is the barometer for the U.S. consumer. Tom, I've used eBay in the last year. I actually had a pretty good experience on it. And clearly, Tom, a lot of people have used eBay because they had a blockbuster 2020. Now, things have guided back down to reasonable levels since then because why? People are choosing to go to restaurants and do other things than shop online. But what has that left eBay with? a bunch of cash, a really good balance sheet, but transaction volumes are going down. Therein lies the problem. That's why I think you're seeing this in the stock. But you got to be careful here. This is a company that's full of cash right now. And guys, when you compare them to Amazon, I don't think that's a very good comparison. Here's why.
Sure.
eBay's their business model, they have no inventory. They don't keep the inventory, and that's why maybe some of that happiness is a little lower, because they don't control it. They just hook up buyers and sellers, so they do better because they don't have to work on inventories, right? It's just they hook up the buyer and the seller. So there's a lot of things to be positive about this company, but, this is a big but, transaction volumes are coming down as the coronavirus is over. But Landon, can we really compare a company with massive inventory to a company that keeps no inventory?
No, I think that's absolutely right. And plus, Amazon's got so many other things that they do. So I think a fair comparison would be Etsy. I think that's probably the closest to eBay. And, you know, when we look at happiness levels, Etsy is doing very well compared to eBay, 75 versus 66. When you look at purchase intent, people talking about using these services, eBay's actually outperforming just a little bit on a quarter-over-quarter, year-over-year basis. Etsy's grown a lot more over the last 2 years, but over the last 90 days and 1 year, eBay's doing just slightly better. So I'd say those are the two comparisons. eBay and Etsy, it's a lot more fair for sure. But for me, happiness is a really big indicator. I don't like that 66 number. It seems fairly low. Etsy's got a much better user experience at 75%, and they're both pretty much in line, eBay edging them out on purchase intent. But you're right. I mean, the amount of cash that they have and the fact that they have no inventory is very attractive. I am concerned that they're losing active buyers. I think that's very, very concerning. Obviously, you want to have more buyers, more sellers, more transactions. That's how they make their money. So you don't want to be losing anybody off of that. And I think the happiness is probably an indicator of that moving forward, that people are going to start shifting maybe towards other brands like Etsy or other smaller brands that are powered by Shopify.
And Landon, if you look at the supply constraints that we had going into the holiday shopping season, so we're going to get some data from eBay after this earnings report on that. And stores were sold out of certain things going into the holiday shopping season. And this is where I think traffic picks up for eBay, because people were just looking for something that might be available by a private seller, right? Did you guys see any data that stated that you saw more mentions in that November, December holiday shopping area that actually might boost this quarter for eBay?
Yeah, so I think that theme was really big. We saw that primarily with Etsy. That was extremely big with Etsy. Pretty big with eBay was, you know, you can't buy it at Target or Walmart, so let's go buy something maybe used or maybe custom made from Etsy, things like that, where they, you know, there is a private seller holding it. They can just go down, drop it off at FedEx or UPS and get it to you. And so I think when it came to holiday shopping, that was very important, because you got to, you know, there's a deadline on that. You got to get the gift by Christmas. And so a lot of people did go on to eBay and Etsy. I think Etsy had a stronger experience with that. LikeFolio data showed that Etsy did better. But also I think that a lot of Etsy was a little bit more geared towards gift, because it's a lot more personalized, a lot more customized work, where maybe the thing that you're buying is more likely to be one of a kind. Whereas eBay, there are things, you know, a lot of their primary business are sneakers, luxury watches, handbags, even trading cards, things like that. Collector's items, but not necessarily one of a kind. So I think that they definitely both benefited from the supply chain constraints and things being sold out at traditional stores. But that's starting to go away. And the more that the supply chain opens up and eases, I think that the more pressure you're going to see put on both of those companies, eBay in particular.
Yeah, and if you look at Etsy stock, that stock's off, about over 60% from its all-time highs just 3 months ago. So is that a precursor? Because the take rate for Etsy by their seller, or by the company from their sellers, 18%. eBay's about 12%. So we'll have to take, wait and see on this one. But you've got a positive 19 on this stock going into earnings. Is that correct, Landon?
Yeah, that's right. And you know where they're at, their stock is at. They're only off about 31%
Yeah.
from all-time highs. It's when you compare to an Etsy, it seems like a great deal. They're flat over the last year. 1 year going back, they're trading right around here, $55. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they got a little bump here, plus 19. Again, if I have to lean one way, I'm going bullish, but simply because I'm a little worried about their happiness numbers and the fact that they're losing active buyers, I'm staying away from it long term. If I was going to play it short term, I'd want to give myself a little bit of room, maybe sell a little bit of premium, something like that. But I wouldn't be betting on a huge beat, but maybe a small bump up on the earnings report.
Yeah, even beats doesn't equate to a stock rallying. We've seen that too much over this earnings season. All right, great stuff as always, Landon. Have a great day.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, that's Landon Swann, the co-founder of LikeFolio.com, breaking down the data for us on eBay.